You guys ready? Okay. I'm going to call to order BZA meeting for today, May 14th at 7 p.m. Before we go ahead and start, I'd ask people to silence your cell phones if you have a cell phone, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, if that's okay. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I call to order this meeting of the Berlin Township Board of Zoning Appeals, today, May 14th at 7 p.m. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to consider applications properly submitted to the board under the Berlin Township zoning resolution. Just as a reminder, this is a quasi-judicial proceeding. The board's responsibility is to hear testimony, review evidence, and apply the standards established in the zoning resolution of the law. Before we start, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Sure. Jason Acevedo.
Here.
Michelle Cook. Here. Larry Harmon.
Here.
Brad Cook.
Here.
Quinn Market.
Here.
Jessica King. Here.
So let the record reflect that a quorum is present. At this time, if there's anyone that is going to be intending to provide testimony regarding tonight's application, which we'll talk about in a second, please stand and raise your right hand.
Do you swear affirm to tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You may be seated. Thank you. So today we're here to hear. What's that?
Was the meeting advertised?
What's that?
Was the meeting advertised?
Oh, yeah. Was the meeting advertised as appropriate?
Yes, on May 4th, 2026, on the Berlin Township website and Facebook page.
So today we're going to hear BZA application BZA VA 26003. The applicant name is Manor NG LLC, and the property is located at Berlin Station Road, parcel 418-24001-056-001. The request is for area variance from section 2405 of the Berlin Township zoning resolution. And what's being requested is to reduce the required setback from a Class B road from 100 feet to 50 feet is what's being proposed as shown in the application. For the benefit of everyone present, this is an area variance request, and under Ohio law, area variances are evaluated under the practical difficulties standard established by the Ohio Supreme Court in Duncan v. Middlefield. The board will consider factors including whether the property can be reasonably used without the variance, whether the request is substantial, impacts neighboring properties, whether alternatives exist, and whether granting the variance would uphold the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution. The board's decision must be based on evidence and testimony presented tonight. So at this time, I'm going to ask the staff to present any report from the zoning inspector.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to introduce Jacob Collins. He's our new zone director, and he will be here to assist me throughout all these meetings going forward, and everything else that we do in the zoning department. Tonight, yes, we are here for BZA VA 26-003, located on the end of Berlin Station Road. It is 3.38 acres. It's currently an empty lot, located to the north of Berlin Farms. The surrounding area to the north are farm residential FR1 properties and existing residential homes. To the south is R-1.85 planned residential, part of the Berlin Farm subdivision. Current land use includes a pond, retention pond owned by MI Homes, and then also new residential homes are being built to the south. To the east is the proposed right-of-way for the extension of Ross and Pyatt, and then also further east of that are residential homes, zoned FR1. And then to the west is R-1.85 planned residential, again, part of the Berlin Farm subdivision, the future single-family homes. You'll see on the next page the location of the property within the township north of the high school and north of Berlin Farm subdivision, and to the east, or to the west of Dale Ford Road, and then a zoomed in site to where this location is. On the following page, you'll find image A, which is the proposed plot plan of 3 properties and a common access drive, which is the proposed future use of this site. I'll let the applicant go into more detail on that later. The next image is just for your reference, if you weren't aware of the proposed extension of Allison Pyatt Road, connecting up the Curve Road. So this common access drive and properties will be connecting to that future extension. Summary of the proposed request. The applicant is requesting a variance from section 24-05 setback regulations, which states, no building or use except parking areas shall be located closer to the center line of adjoining streets, roads, highways, alleys, or approved private roadways than the distances set forth in the following table or chart. For the purposes of this chart or table, and for all other purposes of the zoning resolution, streets, roads, highways, and approved private roadways shall be classified in one of the 3 following classes. Class A, which the township designates the following roads, Class A roads, US 23, Route 36, Cheshire Road, South Old State Road, Africa Road, and other roads as later designated by the trustees. Class B roads, which is what we are dealing with tonight, is any public street or road or any private road or street approved by the Delaware County engineer connecting 2 or more public roads. And then Class C are dead-end roads or streets ending in a cul-de-sac or approved turnaround. So there you can see the use classification of table, FR1, farm residential properties, so Class B setback is 100 feet. The minimum setback distances, all distances are measured from the center line of the existing or proposed right-of-way to the nearest use or improvement, except parking areas or signs which may be located within the setback area as regulated by Article 24 of the zoning resolution. Setback requirements shall meet the designated distance from center line in the chart. Lots, tracts, or parcels which adjoin more than one county-approved road, street, alley, or easement. Corner lots shall meet the required setback requirement for each adjoining street, road, alley, or easement. Note that the setback requirement to the common access drive will be 90 feet, and the proposed plan is compliant with this. Technically, agencies review. Berlin Township Fire Department did not have any comments at this time, and you'll also see in the application comments from the Delaware County Regional Planning, Public Health District, Delco Water, County Building Safety, and also county engineers. And then following that is your board analysis for various cases, and then after that, it does include the public comment emails that we received. I believe they are intended today. We'll be expanding comments.
Thank you. I'll ask board members, are there any questions for the zoning inspector at this time on the report? No? Okay. All right, so from an applicant perspective, at this time, I'll invite the applicant forward to present the request. And if you could state your name and address for the record as well.
Good evening. My name is Molly Gwynn. I'm an attorney with Ice Miller, and I'm assisting the applicant with this. Present with me tonight is also my client, Mr. Yates. I think he'd like to speak generally to this. My address is 250 West Street, Suite 700, Columbus, Ohio. And as noted, we are here this evening on a property that is zoned FR1. We're not changing the zoning designation. We're not seeking to adjust anything with respect to the lot sizes within this zoning classification. As you can see on the site plan and as noted by staff in their presentation, these are 3 proposed lots, all of which are over an acre, right about 1.02 and 1.34. The applicant is also committed to constructing a common access drive fully compliant with all of the county standards and complying with all of the requirements that Delaware County has imposed on them throughout the sketch review process. One of the other things just to note here is that the applicant has purchased this property. They are not in contract. They're done with this. They're already through this. And so at this point in time, they are just looking to vary, again, section 2405, and that's for that setback that's going to be located along the future extension of Rollison Pyatt Road, again, that's shown on the east side of the plan. And as noted, this particular piece of property has already been purchased by Delaware County via a deed that is included with your packet and with the application for that future road extension. And we understand that it is estimated to be constructed in or about 2029. And important to note, we think that we could still build these homes, and I'm going to let my client talk about the kind of homes they build. They are a high-end custom builder. These will likely all be over $1 million, but we could probably still put these on here, but we think that the variance helps it lay out a little better, makes the lots lay out a little better, and is a benefit to future members of the community for those 3 lots. And so I want to go ahead and speak just generally to the Duncan factors right now. In terms of the property yielding a reasonable return, you would have less lots here if we're not able to get this variance. We would not have the 3 lots, we would just be down to 1, and that is a slightly lesser return for the applicant as well as the community. In terms of whether or not the variance is substantial, it is a 50% variance. It's from 100 to 50 feet, but as noted, there are examples of other variances that would be more substantial than this. You certainly could be closer, and there are areas in and around Berlin where you are closer to public right-of-way than we're asking for right here. So we think that's kind of a middle ground type of factor. We do not believe that there is impact to the neighboring property owners with respect to this variance. Again, we are not changing the zoning designation. We're not building anything on here that would not already be permitted to be built on here. We're not varying the lot widths. We're not seeking to really change anything in the FR1. And with the construction of the common access drive as shown, we think it'll be a benefit to that community while still maintaining the buffering between this and the MI development. No impact to delivery of governmental services, not really a factor that's implicated here. The property owner was not aware of this, and obviously substantial change to the property with that extension of Rollison Pyatt has made this property developable, again, for a large scale kind of estate lot. So the changed condition of the property certainly drives that factor. We don't think the request can really be obviated in any other manner. We'd like to, again, kind of pull that house just a little bit closer to the center of that future right-of-way. Difficult to find another way to sort of orient the house on the property that'll help it lay out consistent with the other properties. And we think the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance would be served with this request for the variance. So I will go ahead and let my client speak to their presence in the community, the kind of houses they anticipate building, number of bedrooms and price points, and then really answer any questions you might have. So go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, like Molly had said, if you look at the site plan, there's the 3 properties, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Jeff Yates with, actually it's Manor Homes, our parent company Manor NG is the applicant. Address 15 Clarendon Drive, Powell, Ohio. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
So the variance is really only going to affect that property number 2.
So property 3 and 4, they both have about 100-foot building width, so we can go house up to 100-foot wide. If the existing 100-foot right-of-way is in place on property 2, we'd be limited to only about a 70-foot wide building pad. On a 1.3 acre lot, a 70-foot building pad is awful tight. Just makes limiting factors to try to get the type of price point and size and quality of home that we're anticipating building on. Hence, that's the reason for the variance on only property number 2. Our other thought on this, and sometimes you wonder if it's like premature, because we do not have like a specific house plan for this lot or specific, criteria. Since this is going to be a common access drive, it is going to be technically a platted subdivision through the county. So our intent was, if we can get this variance, it can be applied to the plat, and it will all be taken care of on the front end, as opposed to us ending up back here with the future client, in 6 to 12 months. Me personally, if I look at this property number 2, it is the bigger of all 3 of these, which has a plus to it. The fact that that future road is going to go down the one side, is kind of the negative drawback to that lot. The reason for the little bit bigger lot, a little bit bigger building pad, I would envision some type of future property owner, having the house, and ideally they're going to want the house as far to the west as possible, as far away from the road as possible. With the bigger building pad, it allows opportunity for maybe an accessory garage or an outbuilding that could be used as screening for their backyard to help protect their privacy once that new road goes in. So those are kind of the factors we were taking into account in asking for this variance on that one property. All these homes are going to be, they will be over $1 million. They will probably be in the 3,500 to 4,500 square feet for minimum 4-bedroom, probably 5. They'll all be 3-car garages, some may be 4-car. We feel like this will be kind of a step up, a decent step up from what the existing Berlin Farm neighborhood is with MI. And that's the type of houses we kind of do. We're out of Powell, we're over in Union County, like Jerome Village area. Our price point there is in the 1.5. We're off of Liberty Road in Liberty Township. We do about $2 million product in there. We built in Berlin Manor here. It was Fisher, and then us. I think we did about a dozen houses in there. We just completed one. If you go north on Lackey Old State, right before, just south of Curve Road, there's a big white house on the left. We're just wrapping that up. I think they're pouring the driveway in that now. So our product is nice, appealing, and a little bit more on the pricey side than what some of the other builders in the area may be. Something I'm missing?
We'd also be happy if it is to the pleasure of the board to respond to questions from the neighbors if we're given a chance to come back and address those. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to open it up for public commentary in a few minutes, but before you complete your testimony, I want to open the board up for opportunities to question you guys on a couple things. So my first question is on the Duncan factors. The first one was about reasonable use, and you've got 3 properties plotted here. If property 2 is the one in question, couldn't an alternative be to build a smaller lot or not build that property and still have at least 2?
You certainly could have that as an option, but in terms of the reasonable return and yielding a reasonable return, the return is substantially more reasonable. We're able to adjust the building pad, and we think more consistent with the character of the surrounding areas.
Board, any further questions from anyone on the board for the applicant?
I don't have any of this.
I've got a couple of questions, and I apologize because I think I'm missing some of the photographs you were all referring to, so I don't have this. So for starters, where you have the future Rolson Pyatt Road, does that continue to go up to the top of this page?
Yes, it will continue all the way to Curve Road.
Straight as depicted right here, just straight
Uh,
up here?
I haven't seen the final county engineering plans, and I don't know if they've acquired all the property to get to Curve Road yet, but I think the intent, if you know where the roundabout is, kind of by the high school, the oblong roundabout, I think the intent is a roundabout shaped kind of along like that, connecting Rolson Road to Pyatt Road, and there's a little jog will kind of be in the roundabout.
Well, I think it's already a portion of it. Berlin Farms has already started, and it's 2 lanes there. It made that jog.
Yes, yes.
And then it started up through Berlin Farms,
Yeah.
but it hasn't connected
It stops right
at the beginning of
right
the
at
property.
this corner of the property.
So what I'm getting at is, if it, let's say it went straight up, just because I don't know where it's going. If it goes straight up, is this the Clark's property here?
So we purchased this property from the Clarks, and they sold this property and their home there. So I don't think they live there anymore, but so the parcel we're looking at that we bought 3.38 acres. It was a 4-acre parcel. So the county bought 0.62 from the Clarks before we purchased 3.38. In that same transaction, the Clarks sold them another section of their property that kind of cuts across, because right now, the old Clarks, but their driveway went all the way out to Dale Ford. And so their property is now split in half from what the county purchased from them. I think the county's intent is to keep purchasing the next 3 or 4 parcels to the north.
We won't speak for the county.
Well, yeah, but I think that's, the intent is what we understand it.
So what I'm getting at is, if this house, this real estate is gonna continue to exist as it is,
Yes.
doesn't that look like it's gonna have the same variance issue by the road going in closer than 100 feet?
Judging by this map, it looks that way.
Though this was prepared by our engineer, and we don't control that property, we wouldn't be authorized to obtain any kind of a variance on that issue right now. We're not seeking any kind of variance on that issue right now. I suppose conceivably, yes. And with the road not yet platted, there may be flex in this plan. It's not a final engineered plan with the road running exactly straight.
So we're only looking at through the tree line to the square. What's the dotted or solid line around? What is the discussion tonight?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
It's only that property.
We're only here on that property, yes.
And we plan to develop this before the road is extended. So, yeah, and there's gonna be a temporary access. So our first meeting with regional plan was a sketch plan meeting where we received all the comments back that are part of the application. Once they kind of gave us the go-ahead that this makes sense, we had discussions about they're going to allow us to pave a temporary access from the end of the existing road to our common access drive, with the intent that when they extend the road in 2029 or whenever, they will remove that temporary access. We need to let our clients know that there'll be some construction when that road is being extended. But they're planned to be homeowners on these 3 lots well before the road is put in as well.
So I guess what confuses me as well is the fact that, as you already cited, property 2 is a bigger property than 3 and 4. And because it's a bigger property, it comes closer to the road, thus the variance request.
Yeah.
And why is this property bigger than the other 2?
Well, for one, with to try to get a decent, if the variance doesn't get approved, it would only be a 70-foot build pad. So if we split these 3 lots up equally, that build pad would probably be reduced to about 50 feet, which is just awful tight to fit a house. Plus, making it bigger, we want the option. I think the engineers are working on it now, but doing our dirt balancing, we would like to install a mound kind of along the edge of that property to plant trees to create some separation between the road and that property. And so all those factors coming into play, having that lot be a little bit bigger, just gives us more opportunity to try to make it nicer for the end user when we eventually sell it.
I mean, I do have a concern because that's probably going to end up being, it's not there yet, but it's going to be, seems to be a major artery to 36, 37 for those approximately 500 homes that are part of Berlin Farms. So I'm looking at it as kind of substantial, and also for your prospective homeowners to be on a road, a house that close to the road. Is there any flexibility to reduce that from the 50 to?
Yeah, I mean, we're open to suggestions. I mean, that's, I think, where we kind of started. And I guess, so in perspective, so it's used, for example, we're building in Jerome Village. They're, 90-foot lots with 8-foot side yard setbacks. We're selling for, that 1.3 to 1.5. So 90 minus 16, so we're 74 feet wide is about what the width of those houses are. So, yeah, nobody wants to be right on top of the road, so we would shove that house as far, over to the left as possible.
To the west.
To the west, away from that road. And I think the thought is, so if you set that up, your garage would end up facing the new road extension. Driveway would come up on the east side of the lot. Having a wider footprint allows for, maybe a 2 or 3 car garage on the house with a detached 2-car garage that could extend along the road and create privacy, for that person and help buffer the sound and the noise, and not only for property 2, but it would help for property 3 and 4 as well.
I think that this is the actual builder who will build these houses. It's not a developer.
We're not
Just here
flipping it to anyone, so this is.
But you don't have a potential buyer that you're doing these proposals.
No.
Correct.
So you're trying to have your plan put in place
Yes.
for, this
So
is what we can build you.
Exactly.
So that we're not with a customer who maybe doesn't understand as well the factors and is like, well, why can't I put my house this way? We're kind of trying to drive that process to avoid that later.
Trying to know what we're going to be dealing with early on, as opposed to making speculations and coming to visit you guys in 6 months.
With a person who's
With
put
the
down a
person who's
deposit.
put down a
Yeah,
deposit,
right.
we've got drawings.
Yeah.
Like to know
I really
what-
like my house.
And where's the common access drive actually?
From here.
So there would be a 60
Oh, I see it, sorry.
foot easement that runs across the south side of that property. And another thing to note too, I think this was some clarification I think we had with Philip early on. These boxes that you see where they say property 2, 3, and 4, those are the potential build paths. Once you take all the setbacks into place, there is a 60-foot setback that they're showing off of the easement for the common access drive. Really, that 60-foot setback is from the center line of the common access drive. So those boxes that are represented on this plan, the house are actually going to be pulled 30 feet closer to the common access drive. So the backyards will be bigger. So the properties behind us, the houses aren't going to be as close to them. And this was all part of, kind of that sketch plan initial, due diligence. And I think we're set up with regional planning in Delaware County. We have a meeting with them on the 28th at 6 p.m. To present. We've done all the drainage and engineering and common access drive engineering. So we're going to present that, sit down at the engineer's office in regional planning and review that on the 28th of this month.
Common access drive, is that just a flat paved driveway, or does it have curbs where?
No curbs, there'll be ditches. Technically, I think per the code, does not have to be paved. I think at the price point that we're selling these homes, our intent is to pave it.
This is, I believe, can not be required on this many lots to do a full common access drive, but this developer is, again, just because of the price points, it'll be subject to an easement and maintained by these owners privately. So with a set of deed restrictions.
And to the south of this is where the MI's pond is.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's maybe 15, 20 feet off the property line.
So that's not
So
on our
have you worked
property.
with them for drainage, so it doesn't drain back?
So our engineer's been in contact with their engineer, working on all the site drainage to make sure it all works properly.
Is it known exactly, when you're talking to the county, do they know exactly where the road's gonna be? I know you're asking for 50 feet, but if something happens and they have to move that road 10 feet, is your 50 feet enough? Or, you know, that's one concern I have about not knowing exactly where the road's going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
They'll have to be.
that property is, you know, I think they have the engineering done on this, and then that's how they knew exactly how much they had to purchase. That's where that 0.62 acres, and I think the road is slated for right down the middle of it. So I don't believe the county bought any more property than they needed to.
No.
Any other questions from the board before the applicant?
And you're saying the existing road, off the roundabout, Roland Farms, the pilot Rollison, is up almost to your property?
It's
to your,
within maybe 5 feet, you know, just, it's close.
and then you're gonna be to the left of
To
that,
the left.
correct?
Any further questions from the board at this time? For the applicant?
Not this time.
Larry? Any? Okay. At this time, I'll open the floor to the public for comment. Anyone wishing to speak should come forward, state your name and address for the record, and direct your comments to the board, not to the applicants.
Yeah, thank you. This is pretty neat. My name's Mark Curran, and I live at 1198 Dale Ford Road. The Clarks live directly behind me. They're the first flag lot behind my property. That's the house that was sold, and this vacant lot is what we're talking about next, right? So I have several things I'd like to say. I am relatively new to the community. I moved here in '04. My property, I'm the original owner of my house. And when the housing development was proposed, that's now coming in behind us, our area, all the houses in the immediate area were concerned about all those houses coming in close to us. You know, we wanted wide open spaces, etc. And the owner of the house, Matt Kowalski at the time, purchased from MI Homes that vacant lot to create a buffer to the housing development and work with MI Homes for that retention pond to be located where it was. They had goats on this property before. If you did an aerial view of all of the homes in the area, there are 3 to 5 acres, lots of space, they've got horses and etc. And again, this property was created as a buffer to be in kind with the houses in that immediate area. And so what the original idea was, it could stay flat, stay dormant, or a single property residence be created with an address on Rollison Piat Road with a 100-foot setback. And Larry, you asked a question about Clark's house. After the road goes in, they will have a 100-foot setback.
Is that with the 103 or 110?
Yeah.
Is that your place right here?
Yeah, with the solar panels, that's me. That's my house, right? So again, I'll just say, clearly I am opposed. Please do not approve this. It's my first argument is density and in kind with the area properties, and the zoning is, what is it? FR1. My understanding was that was at least a 2-acre minimum. that we've got different types of FR1, but our area was more acres per lot as opposed to, 1 acre lots. It was to be more spread out. And so, I go out in my backyard and I see houses. We're going to have nice, I know they're going to be nice houses, I'm sure. But those guys are going to go in the backyard and have lots of open space. The reason they have open space is because it's my backyard. So that's not right. We want to keep the same elbow room, which was the spirit. The reason that lot was cut off and it was left zoning the way it was. And then the next thing I would say in the application itself, I take issue with the number of the answers provided in the zoning request. If you step through the questions and how they're answered, I strongly oppose, and I'm happy to send back a written, I should have thought to do that, I guess, to send you back a written answer. My printer's wrong, so I didn't have a copy. But yeah, ask me a question, guys.
Philip, can you speak to the RF1 so that everybody's clear
Yeah.
for this
The
property?
development standards for FR1, it says no parcel of this land district shall be used for residential purpose, which has an area of less than 1 acre. So there's a 1 acre requirement for farm residential.
So where am I reading? Help me, Philip, because I don't know. Multiple homes, I mean, if you did an aerial view of our property, all of the homes in the immediate area are 2 to 5 acres. And it was my understanding that in the immediate area, they were looking for a minimum 2 acres. Did I just make that up, or did I?
I don't know. That might have been something in the past. But
Yeah.
As far as I know, it's been a minimum of 1 acre.
So,
Okay.
just going back to our duty as a board
Yeah.
is to evaluate based on the circumstances of the argument relative to the Duncan factors that are presented and the zoning,
Yeah.
the zoning requirements.
Yeah.
So Phil just shared with you what the current zoning requirements are.
I understand. Okay, so I got it. So then I guess I would ask that from a setback standpoint, that it not be allowed, that we keep the houses as far away from the existing properties as possible. That would be my request.
I appreciate your concern. Any other public commentary? If you could state your name and address for
Sure,
the
my name's
record.
Ronald Kessler. I own 1232 Dale Ford, which is directly on the other side of the dead end road. Reading the application, there's nothing specific. We just asked for the variance, which to me is concerning. I don't know what's going to go in there. I own the property adjacent to it. It kind of just gives a basic open air. Anything can be that close to the road. And that's my big concern. And I object to the variance. That's really all I have to say. Any questions?
That's fair.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrew Garcia, address 1224 Dale Ford, right next to Mark. I think it goes without saying, I oppose it as well. I think there's a few reasons. One, around the purpose of the existing zoning, and as we look at sort of the whole flow along that road, not one house is even remotely close. There's green space, excuse me, there's green space to both sides, both the east and west on that road. So there's nothing there, and MI did a great job at preserving the green space and the area for people to be able to walk along that road without any worries about traffic or anything like that. I think Mark did speak to the rural character piece, so I'm not really going to go into that too much. I do value what that area has been and what will continue to be moving forward in the larger lots. Not one of those houses, there may be 1 or 2 that are really close to the road, even on Dale Ford. And so making sure that is still preserved. I think the big thing for me is increased traffic and safety concerns. I think, Michelle, you had brought that up. I think even with the new subdivision going in, that is going to be a main artery. We've had meetings with the trustees around traffic concerns and safety on Gale Ford Road specifically. I know this is not what we're talking about, but I would seem to think that with the addition of even all these properties, that is going to be a huge traffic concern both for children and especially with it being that close to the road. So I think having that setback does really preserve that buffer, or at least have a little bit more of a buffer for that. I do think that there's a negative impact on adjoining properties, even though the application didn't say that. Both the traffic, the noise, visual intrusion, both from all of our backyards as well as even just driving down that road. I do think that there's some precedent concerns too, is if we continue to accept variances with buildings or builders closer to the road, that we're going to continue to do that without any sort of market research that really dictate or really looks into sort of the claims of being less desirable, substantial, awkward to use, difference as to why 3 versus 2 is highly desirable, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I do appreciate the fact that this is a substantial builder, and I'm sure that the houses are fantastic. My opposition is solely based on that.
Appreciate your testimony. Any other public commentary? Anyone else?
Do you mind making one quick comment? So I know you mentioned the walking path, or how MI did a nice job. I know part of the county's plan, because we have to provide an easement for the county, because the bike path right now butts kind of into the property, our south side of the property. That corner of the property, we're providing an easement. The county is going to move and put the bike path in the right of way for the road extension. So the bike path and walkability and all that will still be in place, but it's not going to be on our property. It will be on the property right away.
Could you address the one concern about what is going to be built, or what the future plan? I know it's not set in stone since you don't have a prospective buyer of this, but what are your expectations? Do you have images of your current homes that you're building?
I mean, a good example would be if you went down Black Old State and looked at that White House we're building. We built an accessory garage there. We were in here about a year ago and got a side yard setback variance for that. I don't know if you remember.
Are you talking about the one that's up to the power plant?
Yes.
And the reason why the variance was to block the view of the power plant.
Yeah. And so kind of our intent or thinking is another building like that will help block the view of the road and help cut down on noise and keep those backyards, a little bit more private. And if you look at like what we did up there, it wasn't, we did the house all in, James Hardy siding. The barn wasn't a sheet metal, how cheap can you build it? We did it with the same finishes that matched the house. So the intent and integrity of whatever we would put there is gonna match what the house is. We're not planning on doing any fencing or, to try to, isolate those. We want to keep that open, kind of wide concept in place. And then, like I said earlier, I mean, the intent wouldn't be to shove the house all the way as close to that road as possible. It wouldn't be desirable for somebody spending that kind of money on the house. So the house is going to be shoved as far west as possible. We just want some flexibility in, how wide of a house it is and an option for some type of screening, or if it's a garage or a pool house or some type of screening for that.
If it's going to be single-family housing, it's going to be constructed
Yeah,
accessory dwellings, not anything other than that. We're not planning on putting in anything different that would not be compliant with the zoning.
I was just trying to address.
There wouldn't be a body shop, that would fit into the zone text as it is. Really, if somebody wanted to build a garage shop out there, I mean, that wouldn't be allowed.
Well, it could go potentially and be rezoned for commercial.
It could, but
or high density, like what's to the south of it, it could go to be consistent with what MI has there already, and that is higher density planned district.
To be honest, we had looked at that. We had looked at running a street down the middle of the property with a cul-de-sac and lining, maybe 8 houses around, and we nixed that idea, just thinking that was a little too, far off the spectrum from what the area is, and we thought these 3 1-acre lots are, more in line with what we're seeing there.
So just want to remind everyone here that what's in front of us is an area variance specifically, right, for setback. We're not here to approve what, the plan for the property is or any of that. We're specifically hearing the setback request, and that's what we're going to be giving guidance on today. So if there's no other public commentary at this time, I'm going to close the public portion of the session. And I can ask the board, we can then deliberate if we want to either, we can take a quick recess and deliberate if you'd like, and then we can come back. Okay?
How will we be notified? I'm sorry, Jason, of your decision?
We're going to deliberate right now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the
It'll be made.
Yeah, we're going to make a decision today. So just if you give us a few minutes, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick recess.
Hey, I'm Mark Turner. Nice to meet you. Are you in Bernie's house? How are you? Second house back up. Long drive.
question to me.
Let's get back, and we'll get back to it. So, I just wanted to make sure too, from reading into the record, any of the documents that were provided today, like the staff report, have those all been entered into the record?
We could enter them now.
Can we do that, just to make sure we get them in?
Yeah, so normally we would mark the application itself as Exhibit 1, the application, all the things we had. And then we could mark the staff summary as Exhibit 2.
Okay. And then I did want to ask if everyone who is present today, if you had an opportunity to sign in, before you leave, if you could do so, that would be much appreciated.
Where is the sign?
Pen here. Just all right, so I appreciate everybody's time today. After deliberation, we're going to ask for a motion in a moment, but however, before I do that, in consideration of application for area variance, we observe the spirit of the resolution and weigh the competing interest, et cetera, of the applicant and community. The factors that we consider in evaluating this, as I mentioned, are the Duncan versus Middlefield factors. And I just want to review those again so that we're clear what those are. It's whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return, whether it can be any beneficial use without the variance, whether the variance is substantial, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered, or whether adjoining properties or the comprehensive plan for the community would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance, whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of governmental services, whether the property owner purchased the property with the knowledge of the zoning restriction, whether the owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some method other than the variance, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. And again, these are the Duncan versus Middlefield factors that we use to assess this. So, with that being said, I'm going to ask the board if there is an emotion either to approve or deny the application at this point in time.
I'd like to make a motion to deny the application on several of the Duncan factors. Notably, whether the variance is substantial. I mean, we're talking 50%. And whether the problem can be solved in the manner other than granting the variance is another one. And whether the property can be yield a reasonable return without the variance being granted. Again, I'd like to make a motion to deny BZA 26-003.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
And Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Rocket?
Yes.
Mrs. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Acevedo?
Yes. So on the matter of BZA 26003, filed by Manor and GLLC, the board has entered in a motion to deny based on the factors: reasonable return, variance is substantial, and we believe it can be obviated through some other method other than the variance from Meyer. Okay. There you go. Thank you. And we have other item on the agenda is BZA meeting minutes for 3/30/2026. We need to approve those meeting minutes, so do we have a motion to approve the minutes from 3/31/2026?
I move to approve the BZA minutes from March 31st, 2026.
A second?
I will second.
Mrs. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Rocket?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Osvaldo?
Yes. Is there any other business for the board at this time?
Just on the subject of minutes, I think there are quite a few that need to be signed.
Okay.
So before you leave, make sure you take a look at that.
That being said, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting at this time.
I second it. I don't think I have to call on that.
Yeah, all right. Thank you all. Thank you, public, for joining. Thank you.
All right.